So finally, Jake Fromm has been selected. I wasn't necessarily super high on him coming into the draft, but I certainly thought he would be drafted before the 8th quarterback overall getting drafted and before a kicker that the Patriots drafted. So kind of surprising that he did fall this far. And I think for the Bills, this is a great pickup. I think you're getting someone who should be a solid backup, if nothing else, and you're getting him in the 5th round. There's no doubt in my mind a 5th rounder for a good backup is totally worth it. So I like this move a lot from their perspective. I'll get into a little bit more of what I like and don't like about it. Basically, the main thing is that his arm talent just isn't that great, so that's why he's not really getting talked about too much as being a high pick. And I think a lot of coaches will kind of say, you know what, I'll take somebody who isn't necessarily the smartest if they have a great arm talent because I can coach the high football IQ into them. It's very difficult to coach them to just be a better athlete. Some guys are just what they are. And so Jake Fromm is probably pretty close to what he ever will be. That being said, though, he is a pretty accurate passer. He does make smart decisions. And so with those two things, I think that there absolutely is value. And I do understand this draft selection. I think it makes a lot of sense from Buffalo's perspective. I probably would have drafted him if I was one of these teams earlier. I think he would have, if I was drafting every pick, he would have been gone before this point, no doubt about it. But anyways, let's just jump into the film study. We'll start things off with this play. It's going to be man coverage there on the top of the screen, and what Georgia is going to do here is they're going to have their receiver closest towards the sideline, the plus receiver. He's going to run that route right there. It's going to kind of get in the way of a defender because then they can have another receiver run that route over there. They can hopefully pick up some yards, and that's the idea here. They hurried up to get the ball off, so if you're wondering why it says first down and 10, but the first down marker is only 1 yard further past the line, they just didn't quite have everything set up yet, which is why that is the case. But anyways, what you're going to see right after this ball is snapped is that this play is working out pretty well. There is definitely a situation that looks pretty good up there. A receiver can get open, but again, it's not perfect. I mean, without a doubt, if Fromm tries to make this throw quickly, well, then you could also certainly see a defender run over and make the play. Basically, it's just a little bit too early to know exactly how well this play is working. But here's the dilemma. So Fromm might want to wait a little bit longer because the play does need a little bit longer to develop. However, there's also a defender right in his face, so he doesn't have a little bit longer. He would like to wait an extra second and then make this throw because that would be the better angle, but he does have to wait. And so what is he going to do? He's going to do his patented, I don't even know what you call this, a pop fly ball. And, it does get complete. They gain a few yards. This is something he did. I don't know if I really love it, if I'm being totally honest. I think that there is some logic behind it every now and then. I'll definitely show a couple where it worked out well. But yeah, basically, you'll see him very often throw these balls that are not exactly with a ton of zip under them. It's like a hot air balloon with how much air is underneath it. Very interesting thing that he does. He can throw some lasers, but he's definitely not. No one's going to confuse him for a fireball thrower by any means, and he will often. It seems intentional a lot of the times how much air he'll put under it. This play is a good example of having some air under it, where it's going to be a cover one play, but, in zone, so a little bit different. Man coverage, that's the route that he wants to throw it to. This is a 3rd down and goal. You would love to get a touchdown here because you're down 7, but it's only the 2nd quarter, so if you get a field goal, not the end of the world. But you obviously don't want a turnover here, which is why you're running a fade route, because if you run a fade route, your quarterback just has to throw it high enough and far enough away that either it's going to be a touchdown or it's going to fall incomplete. These are pretty low-risk, high-reward type plays, and what I like about this from Fromm, right after the ball is snapped, again, can't really tell too much what's going to happen right here, but Fromm is going to say, hey, it's 3rd down. I'm going to put it in a spot where either my receiver makes the catch or it falls incomplete. But also, again, look at how much air he puts under it, where he gives his receiver time to adjust. His receiver makes a really good catch. It was initially ruled an incomplete pass, but it got overturned and was ruled a touchdown. This play was actually from 2 years ago. Some of these plays will be from 2 years ago. Some of them will be from last year. It's just, I wanted to be very thorough, especially with these quarterback videos. I want to get as much tape as possible, so Worth mentioning, I do think the best year to watch tape from a guy is the most previous year, obviously, but I do think you can learn some things from looking at previous years as well, so I like to look at both. And as I'm sure a lot of you longtime fans know, because I've said it before, I don't make my opinions just off the plays that I show you here on the videos. I make my opinions by watching a lot of film. I get my opinions, and then I decide that I, look through some tape, find some good plays that are good examples of what I'm talking about, and then show those plays to you guys and kind of explain my thoughts. So that's kind of how, little behind the scenes for maybe some of the new fans that haven't heard me say that yet. But this play's another good example anyways. We'll move on a little bit. What's going to happen right here is that it's going to be man coverage, and, there's a couple of double teams taking away the middle of the field, and so that's actually good news for Georgia because their receivers on the top half of the screen are running those routes right there. And after the ball is snapped, there is a receiver who is kind of open. Again, this is another situation where it seems like this is a lot of these situations where you can make the argument that there isn't a chance for this to be complete right here, but it's very, very tough. You can't tell for sure. And so again, Fromm is kind of in the position where he has to put it in a spot where either it's going to be a touchdown or it's going to fall incomplete. This is the similar situation to last time, 3rd down and goal. A lot of quarterbacks, especially young guys, will try to force this one here, but Fromm is making the right call. He's putting it in a spot where either his receiver will catch it or it will fall incomplete. And watch this, again, a lot of air under it, but a really good ball, and that was able to be a touchdown. Also, you can tell I've been watching a lot of Hook Cam's videos by the way I just said a really good ball. That's kind of his terminology. It's a good way to say it, though. Yeah. And I also think it's worth mentioning that the way that his arm strength is sort of been portrayed, people just say, has poor arm strength, has poor arm talent. Those things are both true, but you also have to look at how is it poor, not just, poor, period. Because yes, he can't really throw these line drives. He will sometimes attempt those. Every now and then they work. He's definitely more of his passes aren't that fast. Like, that's just kind of how he's at. But I do think that he can throw the ball downfield, and so those are two different things. He might not be able to get it quickly downfield, but he can throw it downfield. What's happening on this play is it's going to be a cover 3 zone, and that's the route that he's going to want to hit. Just a deep route. Deep routes towards the sideline in a cover 3 can be pretty good because there's only one safety who's deep. So that's what Fromm is going to try to do here, is he's going to try to look in that direction. And after the ball is snapped, you notice there is definitely separation here. Fromm has an opening where he can try to make this throw. Fromm is going to make a very accurate throw here, and they're able to get a huge completion. And again, that's something where it was a very far throw down the field. They started at the 20, Fromm had to take a few steps back, and then he was able to make a throw all the way to where the ball got, into opponent's territory right at the 40. So that's a long throw. I mean, that was, 35, 40 yards? Not easy to do. I mean, you should, if you're in the NFL, you have to make that throw. But I'm just saying he can make that throw. And so, just because he doesn't necessarily have great arm talent, doesn't have great arm strength, that's only really going to come back to bite them in terms of, trying to get in between linebackers and things of that nature, which does matter. Like, that is a definite weakness, but he can do things really well, and he definitely has value. This play is another good play where it's, again, going to be zone coverage. Those are the routes that you're going to want to look to because basically that's where Fromm is going to be looking. The idea behind this is just whichever guy is appearing to be more open. This is a 3rd down and 5. The underneath route should be enough that it can get you to 1st down, and then a deep route, obviously, that'll get you a touchdown. So you would ideally like the touchdown, but if the other route is more open, throw it underneath, get the 1st down, live to fight another down or another 3 downs. But after the ball is snapped, Fromm takes the ball, and he's going to just deliver a perfect throw to his receiver in the end zone, who leaps up to grab it, but, that's what you wanted. You wanted your receiver to be in position where he could make that type of play. Again, I do feel like Fromm has his weaknesses. I don't think Fromm is going to win an MVP. Just my opinion, my comparison has been he's kind of like Case Keenum. He's sort of that I'm not great, but I can be good enough type guy, which has value in the NFL. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the strengths and weaknesses of Fromm. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.